Monday.
Hello.
It's Monday, guys. We're here. Woohoo! So I have to tell you, behind the scenes, Kayla and I don't typically communicate until we get live. And so we started a little bit early and we were like, wait, I better shut this down or it won't be organic and authentic when we hit live. So, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Kayla. I hope
Good
everybody had a
morning.
fantastic weekend. Good morning, Angie. We're glad you're here. Listen, if you're here, we can see that you're here, but you drop in the chat who you are and where you're at. And yes, Angie, chilly in Madison, Wisconsin. It is chilly here in Michigan as well.
It is chilly,
And I
chilly in Maryland.
I was about to say, well, welcome to Mindset Monday, where independent patient advocates like us come together to start the week with positivity and inspiration. My name is Nicole Broadhurst, and this is my co-host, Kayla Thompson-Riviere. This week, we're talking about perseverance, resilience, and adaptability. And we have a really good quote. Kayla, what is our quote today?
Yeah, so I love this one. This comes to us from Steve Maraboli, and it is life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient.
Love this. Whew, there's a perception shift, right?
Yes, yes. And I tell you, I mean, speaking from experience, that perspective shift, it opens the door to a life worth living. And I know I've kind of talked about that before, but it's so funny. Since I stopped coming up with the Mindset Monday quotes directly before Mindset Monday, I actually don't know what they are until I show up here. I let myself be a little bit surprised. But as I was coming in this morning and like getting ready for my day, I was reflecting on my past weekend and how kind of chaotic things were. For those who don't know, we got a puppy on Thursday, and it wasn't entirely planned. And we have a 10-month-old, so everybody's eating everything. There's a lot going on. Hands are full, but it has been so fun, and it's so fulfilling, and it just was another situation that brought me pause to think about again. People have a tendency to kind of shy away from things that seem like they'd be hard or chaotic or insert other negative adjective here. And my memo is like, if it seems hard and chaotic, that's the direction you need to go, because the other side of that, not only do you go through personal growth, but that's where the fulfillment lies. In easy life, the only good thing about it is the ease. And then what's the point?
Right. I feel like we just talked about that particular thing too. The only thing, anyway, I get really confused. I love this quote. I too, at one point in my life, well, every day can be challenging, but sometimes, I was just going to say this is a really particularly challenging time in my life. Where I just felt like everything was so stinking hard. And I started doing some work, and I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 months into some of this personal development work that I was doing intentionally around this was I was working with a mentor, and she said, so are things better? Like, is your life better? And I was like, oh yeah, life's way better today, way better than it was, 6 weeks ago, 3 months ago, whatever. And she was like, so what's different? And I had to stop, and I was like, huh, that's really interesting, because you know what? Nothing about my life was any different. Nothing. I was still in the same disastrous marriage. I was still in this terrible, terrible place. But I felt like it was better. And it was because I was changing.
Yep.
Right? And it's so crazy. So now I do that with folks that I'm working with. Like, was life better today? Oh yeah, life's way better. Well, what's better about your life today? And huh, I guess it's the way I'm seeing it, the way I'm perceiving it, the way I'm reacting to it. Like, and this really is the reality of the world we live in.
Oh yeah. And it's so cool because doing the hard things, the struggles, the things that maybe initially were kind of feel pushed back from, it has such a multifaceted outcome,
Right.
because not only do you then accomplish that hard thing, which in of itself gives you such a sense of pride and empowerment, but then it's like doing reps at the gym. It increases your capacity and raises the threshold for what feels hard in the future. So
Mhm.
you get the immediate benefits from climbing that mountain, and the next mountain actually feels like more of a molehill.
Right. Yeah, it's because we're developing that resilient muscle, right? That muscle
Yeah,
that says, "Oh, I've done hard things before. I can do new hard things." Um,
right.
and it's really interesting the way that that works. Um, that I'm trying to think about it, like when we're young and how, because you always relate it to the kids. And I'm just thinking about, when we're kids, we think everything is hard
Mhm.
because we've not done
Mhm.
anything
Yep.
when we're young. We haven't done anything yet. And so, of course, it's hard because we've never done it. And the more we do it, the more resilient we become. It's really, I would be interested to know if this has anything to do with risk averseness. Like, how many people are um, risk averse because they've not built this resilient muscle, or if that has anything to do with it.
I
But
mean,
it seems
yeah,
like
I
it
think
might.
it's related, and it, like we've talked about many times, I think it comes back to that kind of primal hardwired nature that's in our brain. Human beings for the bulk of our existence have had to have a kind of default mode in the brain to keep us safe, because there were really big carnal risks in our life, like, I don't know, bears and cougars and starvation.
Right?
And so our brain learned that by keeping us safe and keeping us in our realm of what we know would keep us from dying. But here in 2025, that risk is a lot lower than it used to be, but the neural programming hasn't caught up with the changes that have occurred really in the last couple of generations. So things that feel hard and risky, the
Mm,
risk to reward isn't what it initially may be perceived to be. Even if something is hard, it doesn't mean it's putting our life at risk. But
right.
our brain, the kind of the lizard brain, kind of defaults
Yeah.
into making us think that. And it does it in a really tricky way, right? Because it comes up with really good excuses and validations, like time. I don't have time for that. I don't know how to do that. And it's like, oh, well, I guess we'll just, stick with the status quo. So it's all kind of wrapped together. But my challenge is, if something comes up and it looks like a really cool mountain, and your brain's like, we don't have time to climb that mountain or figure out how to do it. Number one, everything is figure outable. You have the internet in your pocket at all times. Okay. I have zero patience or tolerance for people saying they don't know how to do something. Honey, YouTube is amazing. I learned how to like redo my house that way. Okay. There's nothing you can't figure out.
I love that. There's a book, by the way, in case you don't know, there is a book titled Everything is Figure Outable. I can't remember the author, but if you also subscribe to that, check out the book. I'm telling you, everything is figure outable. Go
I
ahead.
didn't realize it was a book. I just say it like every day. So I guess I'm going to have
I
to add
know,
that to my book list.
right?
Let's
So I
see.
love
Can you
this.
pull up some comments? Because I see that we're getting some
Yes.
in.
Yeah. Let's see. Angie agrees that it totally is related to risk averseness and procrastination. And then I love this. Jules. I love you. It is so if you are resilient in one area, you can be resilient in all areas. It's here, right? It's here. So if you've been a collegiate athlete, girl, you know, put your head down and get it done, right? You know how to do that.
And for
I
those who
love
maybe
this.
are listening and can't see the video,
Oh,
Jules commented and said, I'm super risk averse and it slowed everything down so much. I practice resilience in different areas. I was a collegiate athlete, so I'm resilient, but it's harder to put myself out there now as an adult. So, the first thing, honestly, that comes to me, Jules, is I want to invite you to give yourself some grace because just in that first line where you say it slowed everything down so much, I can sense that you have some pressure on yourself or judgment about that. And what I've found personally, very much easier said than done, is that when there's something, some negative pattern that I'm falling into, beating myself up over it doesn't help. The key phrase for me has really been embracing that curiosity without judgment. What are the things that is leading me to this resistance in this area or this procrastination about this thing? Is it fear? Is it not knowing how to break it down? Is it time? What is it? And then to start to create a plan around that, because then we can get to the core of the issue instead of judgment and self-pity and self-loathing and the other things that just kind of tend to send us in the opposite direction of where we want to be.
right.
But then to piggyback off of Nicole said, if you've already proven to yourself that you've done it in one area, leverage that. And instead of, oh, it's slowing me down, kind of shift into, I know I have this skill set. We just need to figure out how to put it to use here.
OMG. Okay, so two things. One, Angie just found the author of Everything's Figure Outable, and it is
Oh, okay.
Marie Leo, Forleo. I'll show it really quick. There you go. Thank you so much for looking that up for us, Angie. Really appreciate that. And then two, I'm reading a book. Ha ha! You didn't think we were going to get through an entire show without me mentioning a book. Oh, I already mentioned one. But anyway, I just finished reading The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. Duhigg, I think is his name. Anyway, and this is a phenomenal example of utilizing habit, Jules. If you have already developed resilience in one area, if you're like Jules and you have already developed resilience in one area and you're trying to figure out how to extrapolate that across into another area, tie it to a habit, tie it to a habit. I'm venturing to say, Jules, since you mentioned that you were a collegiate athlete, I bet you're pretty good at getting up and doing some sort of exercise daily, stretching, walking, aerobics, Pilates, something. I bet you do something. I'm just pretty sure you do something. So I'm going to take what Kayla said and take it a step further and say, do some habit stacking on that. Oh, atomic habits. Oh my gosh. Okay. So do some habit stacking on that and do one thing that is hard right before or after you do your exercise for the day. Just one thing. That's it. Right. In this new area. And what you'll start doing is building some strength and creating new habits in an area that you're uncomfortable with. But anyway, I love that. Um, I love stacking habits and atomic habits. And then of course the power of habit really talks more about the triggers and the rewards
Mm-hmm.
for particular activities. And so
I started that one too.
yeah, isn't it good? I've got the
Mhm.
catalyst on the wait list. So anyway, I know, right? So in regards to resilience, if you can tie it to a habit that you already have, it'll help you bridge that gap, right? And get someplace where you don't have that block in your own mind around it. I love
And I
this.
just
This is
want to make a
so
mention because we don't talk about this very often. But for Jules or anybody kind of identifying with that situation where you see these issues but you're struggling to how to get around them, sometimes an outsider's perspective can be helpful. And I don't know if you all are aware, but Nicole and I both offer 1 hour strategy calls with a written report afterwards. We typically see them with our patient facing practices or specifically to the advocacy practice. But if you're looking for more of this mindset coaching and support, that's absolutely an option as well.
I love that. Thank you, Kayla, for sure, for sure. Listen, okay, so we've talked about building resilience through experience. Um, it's funny as I was getting ready for this, I actually did some reading and I was like, resilience, I found out, is actually scientifically not an inherent human trait.
That makes sense.
So, right? I know, since we just talked about, we have to build it and we have to, it comes through experience. That literally is the only way to get my lighting sucks today. This is the only way to, I'm sorry, guys. It's the only way to get it. So let me move over here and see if that will help. I don't know if it will or not, but we're going to try it. All
I didn't,
right.
oh yeah, that's better. That I didn't
Fantastic.
realize that. But
Yeah.
it makes so much sense as soon as you say that because, I feel like it's definitely something I didn't start to even have this awareness of or to build until probably my mid 20s. I don't know. I mean, I always had an achievement drive kind of innately,
Hmm.
but that resilience wasn't there. Like I would get knocked down and fall on the floor figuratively and wallow for a while until I was just tired of waddling and I was like, I got to do something better. But now things, instead of getting knocked down, things tend to kind of bounce off.
Right? Or
Yeah,
it
my
takes
armor
more
is
to get
getting
you on the floor. Let's
stronger.
just put
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
right? Because the
Unless
reality
it's
is,
the
yeah.
combination of the preschooler, the toddler, and the puppy knock me down literally quite easily. It's my children's favorite activity now. They're ganging up.
I, be careful. There's now more of them than there are you and your
I
husband. So
know, and like
just
so many
saying.
more teeth now.
I
So,
love it. I love it.
anybody struggling with that, I don't have suggestions.
I know, right?
But also, it fills my heart. So,
Yes, it definitely does, right? So, the other book that we were just talking about was The Catalyst. And the other thing that I wrote down here was using adaptability as a catalyst for growth. So, as
mm,
our resilience gets stronger, it takes more to put us in the fetal position on the floor, which is good. How it can still happen? Like, let's be real. Like, I can tell you last week was a really rough week for me. And figuratively, I was in the fetal position most of the week. Um, and, and I was able to adapt to that, modify my schedule, get myself some self care time. You'll notice I'm showing up in full authenticity this morning. My hair is still wet. These curls need to air dry. So sorry about that. But that's what we've got. And I have got to take care of myself. So as I was able to adapt my schedule to the things that were happening, the way that I was feeling, the way that things were going, I get to show up this week in a better mindset, in a better place, right? And that's growth. That's growth. Being able and willing to make those adaptations so that I can get what I need in the moment that I need it, which is something else that I think that this, when we're able to practice these amazing things, and I know like we can't do it every day. It's just not real to be successful at this every day. But when we're able to, life does show up in big ways. And it really is an amazing way to live. And it all starts with being in tune with ourselves, being able to know, okay, I'm being challenged right now. I need to figure out how to be resilient in this moment. How do I need to adapt so that I
Mm-hmm.
can so that I can do this, right? So that I can grow and come on the other side of it. Um,
And how does it feel
Not hard.
on the other side of it?
Yeah. Oh, it feels amazing, right? I mean, think about that. When you have had a challenge that puts you on your knees or puts you in the fetal position where you're like, oh, I just can't do this anymore. And you were able to, say, okay, I don't know if I'm really going to survive this, but I do need to get up and take a shower. Right. And you were able to do that after the shower. Don't you feel so much better? Right? Like
Yeah.
almost. Maybe I can survive this stuff. Maybe this stuff isn't as bad as it feels right now. Um, maybe it
Yeah.
is,
I
maybe I'm
mean,
just clean, but
yeah, I would, anybody who is kind of resonating with these challenges or feels like this was a message they really needed today, I would challenge you to think back on your life, to all of the times where you made choices to pick something that, wasn't easy or forgiving. Because I know for me, outside of the realm of, pure tragedy, the things in my life that I've chosen that weren't easy, like deciding to go to nursing school, deciding to become committed to another person, and then make more people with that person, and buy a house to tear it apart and rebuild it with that person, and build a business. All of these things, were not choices because they were easy.
right.
And all of those things, there has been times, continue to be times, and will continue to be times where in the thick of it, it is massively uncomfortable for one way or another. And yet, I kid you not, especially in the past 6 months or so, literally every single day, I am just struck with gratitude for the life that I am standing in right now. Because I can't say it enough. Like, I could buy a billboard for it. But the more I have chosen the thing that feels hard, overwhelming, chaotic, or just too much, and I said, you know what? I'm going to figure out how we're going to do it anyway. Once I get through that discomfort, which, by the way, the perceived what discomfort that I think it's going to be versus the actual amount of discomfort that I experience going through it, it's not what I think it's going to be in my head is almost always way more than what it actually ends up being. And so once I work through that and get to the other side of it, it's so great. And I'm kid you not, this morning I was like, man, I really, I was prepared for worse. Bringing home this puppy at the same time as this baby and everything. And it's not been as bad as I was anticipating. I probably wouldn't have said that to you Saturday morning. I did not get a lot of sleep Friday night. But I adjusted and worked through it, and she's acclimating so well and just becoming like the cutest little member of our family. And I'm like, dang, I'm so glad we did that. Like, I could have built up this whole thing, a year ago, 2 years ago. I definitely would have come up with all the reasons why this was not a good time or blah, blah, blah. And I'm so glad I didn't. And it just really, that was the line that kept coming up in my mind this morning, is like, truly embrace the chaos and like do that hard thing, because this is what makes life worth living. That's what I've come to know, is all of these challenging things the outcomes, and I don't even say outcome as if like we did one thing and then we
No.
stopped. Like obviously, you know, most of my personal enjoyment isn't the right word, but what I get out of this is an ongoing process. You know, my family and my business is an ongoing process. And as I keep moving those things forward and, you know, deepening my relationships with my family and growing my business, every time I'm like, oh, I just have so much gratitude. I'm like, this is what people are missing when they feel like they don't have something in life, or they feel directionless, or, you know, they are missing something. Like this is what life is about. Like
Yes.
you get how many times to go around the sun? You don't even know. So
Right.
I wake up every day. My goal every single day is to make sure when my head hits the pillow that night that my day was a day worth living. And I got
Right.
something out of it. I really seized that day. And that's kind of sounds like maybe we're getting a little bit off topic, but I don't think we are, because to
Yeah.
me that's the bigger thing, is like, why are you here? Why are you,
No.
you know, consuming the resources of this planet?
Right.
What is the purpose of your existence?
Right.
Figure that out. And if you don't have it figured out, start doing some more of these hard things that maybe are a little bit, you know, kind of pushed back, because that's where the answer is. It's after those hard
Right.
things.
I love this. So it leads into it's I don't think it's off topic. I think that it is um right on topic, maybe the next step into it. Because what you're really talking about is the sense of delayed gratification.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what I think? I had to explain, my son is 24. I recently, I mean, in the last couple of months, had to explain to him what that meant. Delayed set, delayed gratification. He hadn't heard the term before. And he was going through some really challenging stuff. And I knew that if he would hang in there, that he would come out on the other side and things would be good, right? And so we ended up talking about this delayed gratification. And this is something I think that we as a society do not pay enough attention to anymore for some reason. I
Oh,
mean,
I would.
everything's, yeah.
That's an understatement. It's not that we don't pay attention. Our society is completely built around driving towards instant gratification.
Right?
I
So
mean,
this
that's
whole
what.
thing, yeah, it's one of the reasons I think this conversation around getting stronger, becoming more resilient, because life does not get easier or more forgiving. We have to grow stronger and more resilient. That is the only option. I mean, unless we want to get bulldozed by life. I mean, I don't know how else to explain it,
And
right?
even
I
then, it
mean,
doesn't get
yeah.
easier.
No, it doesn't. We just get bulldozed, right? We just, I don't know. Anyway, and so I think it's important to talk about, like, that is what you're saying, is that, and I feel the same way, Kayla, about my life. And it's been this way ever since I left my corporate job and started again working and doing the things that make my soul sing every day, right? One of the reasons that I was able to, twist this week around was I was like, you know what? Part of my problem is that I haven't been reading the way that I normally read. And I get resentful when I don't get to do the things that I want to do. I don't know about you guys, but I get really resentful. And so this weekend, I literally finished the book that I was reading and got halfway through another one because you know what? I deserve that. I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I need it. It recharges me. And so I
Self-care is
did it.
not
And
selfish.
that's right. And I'm going to tell you, Saturday, this room was completely off limits to me. I closed the door.
Good.
I did not come in here for anything. I did nothing. And so just why? Because it's the other side. I got to get to the place where I wake up and I'm like, wow, I get to live this life. This is freaking amazing. Right. And if I'm not waking up, it's so funny because now, 6 years later, Kayla, if I wake up and I don't feel that way, something is wrong. I am not doing something to take in my soul,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how I wake up 90% of the days, 95% of the days is, oh my gosh, I get to do this again today. All right. We are out of time. It has been a half hour. This is an amazing. I want everybody to be thinking about this week. What is the thing that's going on for you right now that is growing you stronger and is making you more resilient? What or if there's not something today, be thinking about what things in your life have done that have,
Mhm.
like, that you've already done. Just remind yourself, what have you
Yeah.
already done that has made you stronger and more resilient and will allow you
Remind
to keep
yourself you
doing
have
it?
those muscles. They're harder to see
That's
than physical
right.
ones.
That's right, for sure, for sure. Oh my gosh,
And
it's been great.
next step is, what is that thing that's been popping up in your mind that seems like it's the hard thing and you've been pushing away from? Perhaps spend some time sitting with
Ooh.
that. And is this the nudge you needed to start doing that hard thing and make an action plan and start figuring it out?
Right? Oh my gosh. All right. Well, that is a wrap for this today's Mindset Monday. We are so grateful for this community of independent patient advocates and hope today's quote empowers you in your work and your personal life this week. Be sure to share how you're applying it in your advocacy practice and your daily life. And we'll see you next Monday for more inspiration and positivity. See you later.
Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys.